and welcome to Add More Zest. And my name's Rebecca, also known as 4Kids0147. Happy 10th of December, everybody. My daughter said to me this morning that it is 2 weeks until Christmas Eve. I don't quite think I was ready for that. I don't know if anybody else is or not, but I know I'm not. Anyway, let's get on to today's section of the painting, which is number 10. But first up, I'm going to open the 24-day advent for day 10. So today's advent goodies is this resin pen. You can use your metal placers with them. They do have, you may need to add or take off the little rings around them, but we do also include a set of plastic multi-placers, single placer as well to use with them. It's up to you, but this pen is actually also glow in the dark. So let's see if I turn off one light. I'm not sure, it's been in a bag, so is it glowing? Not so much. It's daytime here as I'm filming this because it's a Sunday, so it's not had much chance to charge, but I have checked it does glow in the dark. So that is day 10. Let me bob those away. And today I'm using a pen that was gifted to me by Melissa. She's actually made this from a Stabilo pen. So it does actually have a metal placer on it, but basically the inside of the pen has been replaced with a pink pen. And I actually changed out the plastic tip to be a metal tip. So it does the job really nicely. It has this little it has divots on it to hold the pen, and then it has a cap. So you can adapt normal pens to work with them. And then I'm using the black tray. This is actually from December 2021. So it's a while ago, this one. And by the looks of it, it's got a little dusty on my shelf, so I've just blown the dust off. So let's start with the white. The white will look really nice in this black tray. The black maybe not as much, we shall see. But let's zoom in to where we need to be. Oh, I need my trashy as well. Let me grab my little black trashy tray to go with. So this does have a glue dot in it that's been in there for a while, probably since I replaced it with a metal tip, but because it does have that cap, it doesn't seem to have dried out anywhere near as much as some of the others have. But anyway, I hope everybody is having a great day. I've been very busy prepping for launch this weekend. Still got some more prep work to do in a minute. I'm actually pushing it with doing today's WIP and Waffle. Bit of a slow start to the day. We did a few little tweaks in the Add More Zest space that just makes working certain things just a little bit easier. You know, when you make those little adaptations and things like that, and attach things that are a little bit different to the norm but make daily life easier. We've done a couple of those projects this morning, so I'm a little bit behind, or it's a little bit later on filming this, and then I need to go and do the last of the prep work so that I can start packing orders first thing tomorrow and get as many out as possible, but know that everything is ready to go and I'm not having to sort things out as I go along. It's mainly prepping the last of the cover paper because we had no idea how much to pre-prepare for the cover paper, and the answer is more than we did. More than we thought is the answer to that one. So yeah, we've been doing, say, a bit of that, a bit of bits around the house, etc. I haven't filmed the videos I wanted to film yet, so I will see if I can get to those later today. If not, they may be a tomorrow evening kind of thing once the day's post has left the building. I also actually didn't get to work on my diamond art studio, so the other night when I got myself ahead means I'm now up to date. So we'll see whether I get to do any more of that or not. It really depends if I end up filming instead. But yeah, it's a good day. It's a good day. Say enjoying doing all the prep and getting as many things lined up as possible, so that, as say, I can get as many orders out tomorrow as possible, and then follow up with the remainder on Tuesday if needs be. But yeah, I think that's all the updates here. As say, it's sort of, there's been a lot of things going on, but they can be grouped into, I suppose, sort of bigger categories as such. No other big updates. So comments, questions, etc. Mysterious Days said she thinks that everyone will get a laugh out of this massive fluster. She says, and it also helps her from to not cry from the hours of fixing it. So she's going to share how she massively failed doing the first section of the Diamond Art Studio Advent Calendar. She said, Rebecca ironically made me realise. She said she kept wondering why the little guide sheet, so the chart, wasn't matching to her canvas, and she added drills to fix it. She didn't process that the arrows that are already on the blank canvas were actually part of the design itself. So if anybody's got the Diamond Art Studio Advent canvas, it is a blank canvas apart from rows of arrows sort of sectioning it out, a bit like the dotted line on this one. There's a row with the arrow symbol. She said, in her defence, it's her first cross-stitch first cross-stitch conversion style, and she hadn't watched videos on it before. She said it's obviously different than my Heaven and Earth design. So she plugged on and fixed it. She said taking days of frustration and 6 hours in. And she saw my post on a work in progress from one day. So I did pop a post up in the group when I was doing the Diamond Art Studio painting once, because Luna wasn't too impressed that I wasn't sat on the couch. She said cue research. She watched Diamond and Washi's video and she realised that the arrows on the canvas were intentional, and she the squares didn't match up because she hadn't done those outer lines. She says, long story, as if this isn't long. She undid every single drill that she'd placed. She used dots sticks from Diamond Dots because the drills were repositioned so much that the adhesive was weak. And the paper got on the canvas, she said, weakening it already. And then she placed down every single drill again. She says, but she used Sharpie first and dotted out the symbols. So it's going to be a guessing game on some. Oh dear. It can be hard when it's not something you've done before, and knowing how, you know, something works and how you're supposed to do it. Even when I've discussed with people the sort of order that I like to do the symbols in, I know I commented on a post and said, you know, I like to start with the number 3, 2, 1, then I do the tick mark, I do the number 6, and then I do the tick mark, and that's the sort of symbol order. Even then, I forgot the up arrow because I actually do the up arrow first to give myself the outline. So I even sort of forget that it's a step that I took, even though I just finished a section when I wrote the post. So I completely get that it's sort of, you know, while it's a symbol that's on the canvas, it can sort of, I suppose, be forgotten a little bit. But it's fixed now. Well done. You know, if you've helped somebody else to not make that mistake, or realise that they too have made that mistake early on and give it another go, then, you know, the experience has a benefit to others as well. So anybody that's not done it yet, not started for whatever reason, there is a symbol already on the canvas that you put the diamonds on first, and that gives you your outline box. I did think about doing them all at once at one point, doing all the up arrow symbol and having all of the lines on the canvas. But then I thought it may end up getting entertaining with the cover paper that I put on afterwards. So I've been doing it as my sort of first step to each square. I do it before I even open the envelope with that day's design. So it's like a little routine I go through. Cross Stitch and Tat says, so busy as Santa and Mrs. Claus that calls are coming in and overlapping. She said, so nice to hear your calming voice. Thank you. Oh, well, thank you for being here when I know it's a very, very busy time of year for Santa and Mrs. Claus. Excuse me. She also says the advent is going great. She said hubby's advent calendar has been a big disappointment to him. She said, but thanks to you, mine has been awesome so far. Oh dear, which one did hubby get? What's his sort of hobby? Which sort of advent did he decide to treat himself to? Maybe people can come up with suggestions for one along the same sort of theme, but one that he'll be more excited about for next year. So that he gets the same level of surprises. Cat Lady, she said this week is busy. She's got something going on from Monday through to Thursday. And then Saturday is her 35th wedding anniversary. Woohoo! She said, and they're out for a meal. Too right. She said she wants to get her trees up on Friday and then decorate over the coming days. She says she has to have it all sorted as she's off down to Wales in 10 days' time. And then this year, she said December is definitely a bit hectic. She even got a trip to York on the 20th of December to come yet, filling up that month. And a Christmas party on the 21st and a dentist appointment on the 22nd. She says she'll really need a rest after Christmas. That's for sure. She says she is being taken out to celebrate her 60th birthday, which is on Christmas Day. Well, happy birthday for your 60th. I will say it now in case I forget. There are quite a few birthdays in December, and as much as I try to remember, I know I am awful at remembering them all. So I hope you have an amazing day, an amazing meal out, and an amazing Christmas, all wrapped into one. And hopefully, at least on Christmas Day / your birthday, you will get to relax and enjoy spending time with others, which is what this all leads up to, isn't it? It leads up to the day, spending a really good and fun day with family at the end of the day. Ms. Kim said her tree went up on the 2nd. It was late this year, as it normally goes up Thanksgiving weekend, seeing as they don't celebrate it here in the UK. Yeah, we sometimes it's what would be the weekend after Thanksgiving. Sometimes it's the weekend after. It sort of depends on the mood, really, what's going on in life, as to exactly when it goes up. But it always ends up up, which is the main thing. Grey Legrand said, she says she just finished the other half of the section I did on the 5th, when she had to trade out her day 4 for a day 5. There's a few people that are doing sort of completed pictures. So rather than doing 2 different halves, they're doing a complete section, and it's lovely to see all them come together. There's even somebody who's put one on their calendar already. So they've completed one and mounted it onto the calendar because they've cut them all apart already. So I think I'll be mounting, of course, the ones that I've already done and cut apart. I'll be mounting one of those onto a calendar so that I have one. I'm not sure whether to stick to the square, the round, or actually to do a mixture of the two. I'm not quite sure, but I will be putting sort of one of each image up on a calendar. That's for sure. This one will probably stay complete when I'm doing it. Susan, she said, regarding printed cover papers, she said, have you ever seen the printing transfer onto anything else? She said she's using cover papers that she bought in Canada, and she used them to section around her Diamond Art Studio advent calendar. She said sometimes she lays the plastic backing back down when she's pausing, and then when she lifted the plastic canvas up, the printing on her cover paper had transferred to the plastic cover, and when she laid it back down on the canvas, it transferred from the clear cover to the actual glue. She said, of course, it got covered up when applying the diamonds. She said, but it did concern her about using printed cover papers the way that she does. She said she hopes that makes sense. She says she does wonder if it has something to do with the type of ink in her supplier's printer. She said, is that something that you've ever noticed? That doesn't happen or hasn't happened with ours. I can only assume it is the type of ink in the printer. So if you're using like an inkjet type printer, which is sort of your standard home printer type, then it is ink getting transferred onto the paper, which if it gets wet or potentially if it gets warm, it can transfer onto something else. That's why if you have something that's an inkjet printer, if you get it wet, it can potentially cause the ink to run because the ink is placed onto the paper. We actually use a laser printer for all our printed items, including our cover paper. So it is a toner that is sort of heated into the paper, is probably the best way to describe it. Or it's the easiest way for me to describe it. It's probably the wrong official way. But it doesn't act the same way that an inkjet printer ink does. So I can only assume it is the ink. But I say we use a laser printer, so that even if ours were to get wet, it doesn't sort of transfer off in the same way. Don't get me wrong, paper doesn't like getting wet. The paper's not going to like being wet, but it's not going to transfer the ink off the same way an inkjet would. So it's either that, or it depends on what paper they use to put the designs on. Maybe it's not as smooth as paper, maybe it actually has a slight coating which is causing the ink to not bond properly. But say without seeing it, I'm not quite sure. She also says she loved day 5 of her metal tips. She says thank you for a wonderful advent calendar and a wonderful advent event. Well, thank you for being here. Can't believe we're up to day 10 already. Right, I'm going to do my gap here, which I have decided, because I'm not cutting apart this one, only because I already have one that's cut apart, is I am going to cover what is on here a dot, a dash line. I'm going to cover it with rhinestones. Now there was somebody who did ask, it's a question that's further up the pipeline, but I will answer it because it's sort of relevant to this and what I just did yesterday. They did ask if I was doing a line of rhinestones between each section. The answer for that one is no. I am just doing it on this dotted line, which is sort of the cut apart line. You can put any diamonds here. You could put square ones, you could put white ones, you could put glow in the dark, you could put anything else, ABs, but the actual pattern goes all the way across on the actual images. I'm only doing it on this dotted line. So I thought I'll answer that one while I remember, and 2 while it is sort of relevant to what I'm doing. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to do them each and every time I come across a join. I'm going to pop those rhinestone ones in. It also stops, you know, it picking up any bits of dust or fluff or anything like that at the same sort of time. This one is weird because this section here actually comes one more row over, but this section goes in 2 rows. So I've gone for in the middle on this one. I've obviously not lined up properly when it's been time. Cross Stitch and Tat said she got to see her mum for her 86th birthday. Awesome, happy birthday to your mum. She said, and she taught her to diamond paint the other day. She is loving it. She said, by the way, this week she ordered her drills and her custom blank poured glue canvas for her Heaven and Earth Design mini beautiful light from Evermoment this week as her Christmas present to herself. That's on my to-do list for the new year. I will be ordering canvas and diamonds and things. I'll do some videos on it at some point when I actually get round to doing it, but it's on my radar to do, is to order the diamonds and the canvas for Mini Beautiful Light. Also check out the diamonds that I need for my Heaven and Earth Design blank canvas that I just need to get the diamonds for. So I need to do sort of an organisation video on both of those and figure out what it is I do and don't need, and get those diamonds together and get the blank canvas ordered, so that I can start that project after I've done my big multicolour Diamond Art Studio painting, the one with 192 colours, I think. It's kitted up. It's ready. I've not done any yet. It is a 2024 thing. I think I'm going to silently ignore it for this month of December, because there is enough going on. There's enough going on with paintings I've already got on, on the go, should we say. So yeah, I'm going to ignore that one until next year, and then I'll start working on that one. Right, so have I got all the teas? I feel like there's quite a few more bitty bits on this one, so probably not quite as quick a section as yesterday. Susan, she said, it's great to see your videos daily. She says she's not long been doing diamond painting. She said probably only since August. She uses plenty of my tips, she said, especially glue dots. Oh, glue dots are perfect. It's just one thing that saves you stopping mid-flow. I think that's what it is. It's the fact that you can dot away for so much longer with a glue dot, and you don't have to keep stopping and picking up the wax. It's amazing how much time it can take out of your diamond painting time to have to fill up your wax all the time. So yeah, I love being able to use glue dots and it just being so much quicker. And it lasts so much longer in other pens as well. I know I have had to change out some of the glue dots in the pens that maybe I've not used for over a year, but there's some of them that I haven't had to change, and the glue dot's still been perfectly fine. So who knows whether the glue dot was on its way out when I last used it or not, which means that I can just change about pens so quickly and easily, and yeah, just pick a pen that takes my fancy. Since the pens have moved into my craft room, I've been changing up my pen a lot more often than I was before, and it's been really nice. Grey Legrand says she loves the tip about the pipe insulation. She said it's easier to get a hold of year round, and it's not as chunky as a pool noodle. Yeah, I think that's the main thing I find is better, is it's not as big as a pool noodle. You can get them as big as a pool noodle, but you can also get them quite a bit thinner than a pool noodle, and the thinner ones are cheaper. So I always go for the thin, because the idea is not how thick you can make the painting, it's just to stop it squashing in on itself. I actually need to get some more. I can't believe when we got the paint for the new Add More Zest space and stuff, I didn't just think to pick up, 10 loads of pipe insulation, because I like to keep my diamond paintings on them once they're finished, when they get rolled back up. I like to keep them on the pipe insulation as much as, you know, while I'm actually working on them, because that's when they will start to settle more and sink in on themselves. So yeah, I really could do with going and just picking up a huge chunk. Great Trish 2004. She's actually made a comment about me saying her YouTube name, I think. So I've half caught a couple of words in the comment. So she said she had a great chuckle when she heard me read her comment, especially the reading of her YouTube handle, which I've probably just read a different way to the way I read it last time. She said she thought her actual name, Cheryl H, was supposed to be displayed, but oh well. She said it might be something YouTube has done. Yes, it's like it has a couple of different names now. It's quite weird as well, because I know Blossom Chops, for example, has changed her YouTube handle. It's Jackie, and she's changed it to Blossom Chops. So it still comes through on email to me as Jackie, but on YouTube it shows up as Blossom Chops. So I think they've just changed something, and the rest of us haven't caught up with what that is yet. She said, anyway, she said, for future reference and to make things easier for you, so you say this, I'll forget. She said it's pronounced like greater, as in he's with 04, she says. Being how long she's held her email address name. She said, hard to believe it's been nearly 20 years. She said, keep doing the fabulous work that you do. Thank you. I'll probably keep hashing your YouTube name as well. A few tend to stick in my head, but not all of them. I'm not the best for remembering between one time and another. Right, have I got all of those? Okay, all the blues done. I've still got some grey, but I just decided to finish up the blue, and then let's move to this letter G. Do this darker brown. Tina says, hello Rebecca. She says she loved her metal tips. It's all that she uses now. She said, so in her eagerness, she moved her cover paper to get the half straight. And so when the video started, she looked up and saw that she was on the wrong half. She'd moved the cover papers wrong. Unless that was me, I straighten up the cover paper often before a video, and the amount of times I'm like, which half should it have been? I hope I've not managed to mix one up, because I know some people do follow the same pattern as I do, and sometimes I do have to take 2 or 3 cover papers up to get them lined up, ready for the video. She says, oh well, she said she did get the message breathe on her half, so she took that as a sign. So she's done the other half of this one. It will all work out in the end. We'll be all caught up with each other by the time we're done, no matter which of us has managed to do the symbols wrong. And it could be the cover paper wrong, it could be me. I say, it was only, I think, the 2nd or 3rd day that I was moving them that I actually realised that there was the potential for me to muck it up big style. And that's when I started paying more attention than I had before. Blossom Chops says she's copied Lady Dax in the way she displays her diamond paintings using the magnetic poster bars top and bottom. She said, which means the painting can then be rolled up. She then stores them in postal tubes. She has also cut the ends off the boxes and stuck the picture on the end cap, so she knows which picture is in which tube. That is actually, like, I knew the magnetic poster bars and I knew that Lady Dax did them, and I've got one for White Christmas. But I actually really like the idea of potentially doing it with quite a few more paintings. So I do have a space, or a wall space now, in the conservatory. It currently has a multi-panel painting that is on foam board that I got made of a picture that we took in Sydney. But it is slightly off centre because it was centred over my hubby's desk when that was there, whereas now against the whole wall it's off centre. So I plan on putting White Christmas there. I plan on taking that one down, maybe moving it into this craft room, maybe moving it somewhere else in the house. But I plan on putting White Christmas there. And then I figured I'd work out what to do after that. But I'm actually thinking there is a couple of places in the house, one above our bed and one where I'm going to put White Christmas, that could actually work for quite a few of my different paintings. Maybe I change the painting up. Every few months or so, I just change the painting and change the feel of the space and actually get to enjoy more of them and get myself some postal tubes to store them in, because they take up way less space than full-on framed pictures. I see a project for the new year. Sherry says she has loads of Christmas paintings that they put up each year. She uses dowels or the magnetic poster frames from Amazon. She says rolls up perfectly after the holidays. Definitely sounds like it's the best plan I've got for White Christmas, and I think I'm going to make it a plan for quite a few other paintings to do them in the same way and change them up every few months, depending on season, depending on mood, depending on when I feel like it, basically. Whenever I feel like it is when I'll change it. Blossom Chops, she says, what is it with dogs and socks? She said her son Alex's Chihuahua Stitch loves to play with them. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's the softness. Luna at the minute also has a fascination with our stockings. She very much likes stockings. She can't get to the kids' ones. They're actually hung quite a bit higher up. Because we're in the conservatory, there is a sort of windowsill right by the roof that has a garland and stuff on it, and the stockings hang from there. So she can't reach those ones, but she can reach mine and hubby's. And I can't put them up with the kids' ones because they face in a different direction. The stocking part faces in a different direction. But oh my goodness me, she's fascinated with ours. Especially if she can't find a sock that she can pinch instead, then she goes for the stocking. She pretty much leaves the tree alone. She's had a couple of times where she's nudged a decoration or two with her nose and gone for a little sniff. But she tends to leave the tree alone, just not the stocking. So yeah, I don't quite know what it is. Because other pieces of clothing she is nowhere near as fascinated with as she is with socks. She gets dead excited when she gets hold of a sock. Lady Dax says she is one person that has divided her Advent diamond painting up into individual pictures. She said both round and square ones. They fit perfectly into a 42 bottle case. And she's turning one set, she said she'll turn one set into greeting cards, and the other will go into the small display book. She says while she agrees that Zesty Wolf was the best by far, She loves that the last two have been dividable into individual pictures. Zesty Wolf was so simple yet so fun. I don't know whether it was the colour palette or just the fact that he looks so flipping cute. I really don't know. He's definitely got something about him that draws you in, that's for sure. And I don't think he'd look the same in a different colour palette, because that is something we could potentially do, but I just can't see him having the same look about him. Or maybe maybe it's just because it was the first one. He has a special place in my heart, does Zesty Wolf. He's actually up on magnetic bars. He's on magnetic bars in my craft room. Blossom Chops, she said she's hoping that I will do a pre-order again this coming July. She said it was so nice knowing that she had it to look forward to in December. It took all the worry out of it, especially as she lost her 24-day advent last year while she was checking out, pinched out of her basket. She said, needless to say, she has now added her card details to her AMZ account, so that won't happen again. Well, we definitely did loads more. I mean, we did the pre-order this year to be able to reassure people that we got loads more, because we know there was much more disappointment than we ever wanted to happen. So that's why we did pre-order. But I say, if people, enjoy the fact that they can budget, maybe we will do pre-order again this year. And people can choose whether they do or they don't. We're gonna keep the numbers as high as they've been this year. Maybe even, some wiggle room for a little bit more if we need it. So those that don't want to pre-order know that there will be stock later on, because we've only just sold out of the advent. Like it lasted past pre-order. So yeah, maybe we'll do it so that those that want to budget can, and those that don't want to know that they can be assured that there is likely to be some later on in the year, and they can pick one up when it suits them. But yeah, we'll work out those finer details for sure as the year goes on, or as 2024 goes on. Okay, I need to take my cardie off. Cardie on off. I rolled the sleeves up and thought that would be enough, but no, it's got too warm. Right, do I do the grey? I'm going to do the grey. I was thinking I'm going to move to the green, but I think I like working partly by colour-ish. So I'll block off this grey. Cher Loves Orange said she put a piece of dryer sheet into the green pot with the nut in it. It also helped with static, she said, while unclumping the drills. I like that idea as well. You can just have a little piece of dryer sheet and a nut, and if you need to use it to separate some drills, it's there. I did look into potentially stocking those little jars in the shop. However, we have we have found it could potentially cause a slight problem. The reason being is we, of course, keep postage as low as possible. It's either cost or below cost for us to send things, especially when it comes to things going abroad. We're forever working on getting a better rate from our postal carrier and all that sort of stuff. We've lowered prices a couple of times this year because we've been able to get better deals. But a lot of the reason we're able to keep our postage fairly reasonable is because a lot of things fit into a box that is able to go through a letterbox. So it's classed as a large letter, which means it's not much bigger than A4 and it's not much deeper than a DVD. Sort of size-ish. That's an ish amount. Some things, of course, do exceed that size, which actually pushes the postal bracket up quite a bit, or can do. If you're ordering a bulk amount of items, you don't really notice that it's gone into, what's classed as the parcel packet. And if you're buying something that's higher priced, it doesn't. Again, you expect to pay more in postage because it's a bigger, more costly item. But for the likes of the little jar with a pot, we would have to straight away, and this is even if nothing else was posted with it, we would have to go into the postal bracket for a diamond painting. So it would have to go into the weight bracket for a diamond painting, or the weight bracket for a full set of cardstock, which is fairly heavy. It would have to go straight into that weight, even though it's got a very light jar with a little nut in it. And that can be, it's something we constantly have to battle with when we stock new items, is if somebody is just buying this, is the postage reasonable or not? And the result on the little jar is no, the postage isn't. It's not something that we can turn around and say, okay, it's only if you're ordering, X amount of stuff, you can add this jar to your order and it won't cost you a ridiculous amount in postage. So while we will probably have some in clearance in January, it doesn't look like it's something that is cost effective to continue to stock going forward because of the size. It's not huge, as anybody who's got one knows, and it will fit in a box with a diamond painting really easily, and wouldn't increase the postage on the likes of something with a diamond painting. But if somebody's buying a set of stickers or a tray, then it would increase the postage quite dramatically for one small little pot. So we are trying to see if there's a way we can make it worth it for international postage primarily, as well. But unless we find something that we didn't realise we can do to make it work, then it may not be something we're able to bring in permanently as an item, purely due to the fact that it is thicker than a DVD, which is a shame, I say, but we don't want people to not buy anything due to postage, not knowing that it's actually a tiny little jar that has set their postage to a ridiculous amount, because it has to go in a thicker box to get to you guys safely. So we will keep you updated if we find some sort of magic solution for it, because it would be a lovely accessory to stock in the shop. But unfortunately that is sort of a battle that we face with a lot of items that we'd love to stock. They just don't ship well to international areas. I mean, it would even put the UK up into the higher postage bracket, but it makes a difference of, what, £1.50 is it for UK? £1.55 difference for UK, whereas the difference for international could be as much as £7-8 difference in price just by adding a jar to your basket, which is definitely not worth it in the same way, and unless you know that behind the scenes stuff, you could just think that we charge ridiculous postage and not shop with us at all. So that's little random little things, but do know we work on many things in the background while doing other things, while preparing and all the rest of it. We've been researching other things, chatting about other things. Got quite a few things that we'd love to implement next year. We just need to carve out some time to get to grips with different things, as well as sort out suppliers and things as well. Roz, she says, OMG. She says, we moved house, so we are living out of boxes. Ooh, that is daunting to me, living out of boxes. I'd want to get them unpacked as quick as possible, but I know it must be exhausting. She says, but she was determined to catch up with my Advent diamond painting. So she's feeling left out. She decided to kit up and ignore the house. Love it. She said she found my lovely flowery pen, but she couldn't find any metal tips, which she'd bought from me months ago. She said she upended boxes, and then she said, success, pen sorted. She said halfway through sorting her diamonds, she remembered day 5. She laughed her socks off. She said it was badly needed metal tips. She says now she has to work out how to use them, and how many glue dots to use. She says she thinks you were reading my mind, Rebecca. She said, great WIP. Well, I hope you are enjoying your new home, albeit with loads of boxes. See, I'm one of those, I'd be very tempted. I've seen the odd group and things, you know, people say, oh, I'm half living out of boxes. I've got boxes in the corner of every room and all the rest of it. I think I'd be one of those people that would want to move every box into a spare room or one corner and just get them all out of the way and then deal with them one at a time. Just get them all out of sight so that when you're not unpacking boxes, you don't see them. And then just get one box out at a time. But I get that life doesn't work like that sometimes. But I hope you're getting there. Susan says she's a little bit behind, so she's watched day 4 on day 5. She said Christmas cards are done and dusted, so now she gets to diamond paint with me. She said her Christmas presents arrived yesterday, and she got so excited she actually kitted one up. She can't wait to get them done so that they can go up on her wall. She said another WIP and Waffle. Another great WIP and Waffle. She said now on to day 5. She said thank you so much for sharing. Well, thank you for being here and for taking the time to play catch up. Life can get very busy very quickly in December, so as much as I love that you guys are coming back, I love the fact that more so that you are getting that little bit of me time, even if you're doing something else while watching the video. You get to get a little bit of time for yourself, which is very much needed. That's for sure. That's why I've been doing the other diamond painting alongside as well, is to get that little bit of switch off. Don't have to think. Me time throughout the day. Susan, again on day 5, she said, in her opinion, she says you can never have too many metal pen tips. She said, so today's advent was awesome. She said she went ahead and put the single placer in the pen she is currently using, and it fits beautifully. She said she loves it when she gets something fun and useful. She says she's glad to hear that Caris, that you did spell right by the way, is coming home. She said she kind of had a bet with herself that she would meet someone and end up staying there. Well, due to her visa, I'm sure Australia would have kicked her out soon enough. But yeah, she has enjoyed her time. She's currently trying to avoid the cyclone as she's travelling the East Coast. So she's not sure whether her East Coast trip will be cut a bit short, but she has definitely enjoyed the time that she's had there. She says she loves the WIP Waffles. Thank you. Christine said she loved the metal pen tips yesterday. She said she changed the plastic straightener to a metal one, and she's amazed by what a difference it makes. She says she's been using single place metal tips for a while. She's been using the KT brand. She said, and yesterday she compared our single placer with theirs. She said it seems as though ours has a deeper throat, so it would be interesting to put a glue dot in it. She said presently when she's changing a glue dot, she cuts one in half and fills 2 single placers. I primarily use one of our sticks 2 glue dots in one of our metal placers, but then I am definitely known for taking them out and putting them back in again if they lose their sticky. So I take them out and put them back in quite often. She said the last couple of days she's been working on a custom from a painting her daughter did on Procreate. She said she needs to give it a name, so she's decided it is Harry's Past and Presents. Harry is an old English sheepdog, and when she's finished it she will post it, she says, and the title will make sense. It measures 100 centimetres by 80 centimetres, so she's hoping to get it finished by Christmas. She said it might be tight. She's looking forward to seeing my new workspace video tour. She said, and it will be lovely to have your daughter home, but she's sure my mum and dad will miss her. Yeah, she's actually been staying with my sister. I know my sister's going to miss her, and my niece. My niece is going to be devastated, unfortunately. But yeah, she will be missed there, but she will definitely be appreciated here. That's for sure. I can't wait for her to get home. That's when Christmas will really start in this house. Okay, day 10 is done. So we've actually got these 2 halves. Oh, we're going up here for day 11. So we're going to end up having another sort of 2 halves. And then we've got the last half picture to do down here before we get to start filling in all the blanks, which means it's getting a lot closer to Christmas. Means we're halfway, which is quite frightening. But it's also exciting because we get to finish up pictures. So, yes, do join me for day 11 tomorrow. But thank you all so much for watching, and I'll speak to you all again soon.